Hello viewers, today's topic of discussion is elements and principles of design, which is the second block of one of the course BFDI 071 of Certificate in Fashion Design. So today we will be covering the block 2 of this particular course BFDI 071 Fundamentals of Fashion Design. So let us see what the course structure of this particular course of BFDI 071 Fundamentals of Fashion Design is. So this particular course is divided in 3 blocks and 1 practical workbook. So in which the block 1 is about the fashion design historical context, in which you have to study 4 units. So unit 1 is theories and functions of clothing. Unit 2 is about overview of traditional costumes of India. Unit 3 is evolution of Indian fashion during 20th and 21st century. And Unit 4 is about overview of world costume. Block 2 is about the elements and principles of design, on which we will be discussing in detail today. That is elements and principles of design, in which you have to study 3 units. That is Unit 5 is about elements of design, Unit 6 is about principles of design, and Unit 7 is fashion concepts. Then the block 3 is about introduction to CAD, that is computer aided design, in which you have to study 3 units. That is Unit 8 introduction to MS Office, MS Word. Unit 9 is introduction to MS Excel and PowerPoint, and Unit 10, that is web based technologies. And lastly, there is one practical workbook in which 5 activities are assigned, which is totally based on the theories which you have studied on the 3 blocks of this particular courses, that you have to do the hands-on, which you will be assessed. So now let us start with the block 2, which is the discussion topic today, that is elements and principles of design. So in this block you have to study 3 units that we already discussed, the elements of design. Unit 6 is principles of design, and Unit 7 is about the fashion concept. So now let us see what all topic you have to study in the Unit 5, that is elements of design. So learners, we expect that after learning or going through this unit, you will be able to explain what are different elements of design, what is their use, how many types of elements are there that you can use in the creation of design, and you can describe the application of these elements in design, like how many types of design are there that we will discuss, and what is their use in the creation of any design in the fashion. So the main elements which we use to create any design is points and dots, lines, shape, texture, space, and colors. So these are basic elements of design on which we create any type of design. So when we are talking from the beginning that what elements of design and the principles of design, so first let us understand the terminology design. So design is the creation of a plan for the construction of any object or a system. Suppose if you want to write something, or if you want to draw or construct any garment, when we talk in the fashion field, if you want to construct any garment, first thing which we plan, that we create a design or construct a plan on the basis of which we construct the final product. So the constructing of plan, it is said, or plotting the object, that is called as the design. So it may be architectural blueprint, like before constructing a building or any architecture, they develop a blueprint of that building. It can be in the engineering drawing business process. Suppose you want to become an entrepreneur and start a business. First thing what you do, you create or develop the process or the plan for any business. Or it can be the sewing patterns, like before developing the garment pattern or pattern, we create the plan how we will develop the pattern or the sewing patterns. Same way, in every field we need to create a plan, or that is said as the design. So it is the plan of arranging the elements in such a way as a best to accomplish the particular purpose. So if we have any thought in our mind, suppose for a final product or for any garment, so what all thoughts we have, that we have to transfer it or into the plan, and that we have to create into the design. So that is the concept behind the design. So now what are elements of design? So elements and the principles of design are very essential for understanding, interpreting and talking about the art. So as like a writer or any author, they use different vocabularies, different words to express their thoughts. Same way, the designer or the fashion people, they use different elements and principles of design to make people understand their thoughts, to interpret what they have developed and talk about the any art. So element of design or the sensory properties are the building blocks of any art. Like as we say, artists use the elements to express their ideas, just as writers use words to express their ideas. So the element of design are sometimes called as the sensory properties because the viewers can see and touch them with their senses. Because if any design is created and it is given to you to interpret, so what we can sense, like if there is a very good combination of colors or the texture, we can sense that design. Because of that, it is also said as the sensory properties. So first element that we use in the creation of design is the point and dot. So a point is the simplest fundamental element of design. A dot is the first contact point on the surface, because we somewhere we all have done some of the drawings. So first thing what we do, we take a pen or pencil and we start putting that pen or pencil on a paper, and first thing which we draw is the point. So after first contact point on the paper is the dot, then we make a point or a dot, and then we create any form or a design which is line or a shape, anything where then we develop. So every recognizable mass is a dot irrespective of size or shape. It can be of any size or shape, but we start with a point or dot. Second element that we use is the line. So line, a mark or a stroke that is longer than is wide. It is the path of a point moving in a space. So first we make a point, then we make a line. So there are different characteristics of line we have. That we have the width, like we can use thick line, thin lines, tapering or the broken lines. Length, it can be short, it can be long, continuous or broken. Directions may be different: horizontal, vertical, diagonal, curving or zigzag. Focus, it can be sharp, blurry, fuzzy or choppy. Then we have the feeling, one of the characteristic of line, that is sharp, jagged, graceful or smooth. Sometimes when we draw line during the making of any design, we can use that line for the purpose of giving the feelings, like it is very sharp line, when it feels very sharp into the eyes, or very graceful or feels very smooth. That all characters we can use while creating any design as an element of design. Third element is the shape. Shape is the external outline of an object. It is two-dimensional, and sometimes we get confused between the shape and form. We always sometimes we use the term shape or form for the similar thing, but there is a difference. Shape is the external outline, though form is also the external uh, outline of any object, but shape is two-dimensional and forms are the shape that are of the three-dimensional. So various types and characteristics of shape includes the organic shape, like we have the natural or the living forms; inorganic, in which we have man-made or non-living forms; geometric shapes, in which we have circle, square, rectangle, and so on. So these are different characteristics of shape we discussed, which is the third element of design. Fourth element, and the most important element that we use in the designing, is the colors. Because any design we are going to develop, we cannot imagine that design without colors. So colors as the most important element of design. So the first is the primary colors. So primary colors are the hue from which all the colors can be made. So basically there are three primary colors from which we can derive or which we can make other colors. The first three primary colors are red, yellow, and blue. Then we have the secondary colors. Secondary colors are like, while mixing the equal parts of two primary colors, we get the secondary colors. Like we have the orange, green, and violet. Then we have the tertiary colors. Tertiary colors are those colors between the primary and the secondary colors, like we have the yellow orange or the red orange. Then we have the analogous color, which are the adjacent or the side by side color of on the color wheel. Now in the picture you can see and understand the concept right now. I discussed that in the wheel that you can see in the picture, we have the three primary colors, that is yellow, blue, and red. Then when we mix yellow and blue, we get the green color. When we mix the yellow and red, we get the orange color, that is the secondary. And blue and red, while mixing the two primary blue and red color, we get the purple color. So on, by mixing that true one primary and one secondary color, we get the tertiary color. This is how we get the different shades of the color. Then there is one concept, monochromatic colors. Monochromatic colors are the variation in the value of one color by adding either white to make it tint or black to make it shade. Suppose we have a red color and we want to make the monochrome of a red color, we can add it white to make it lighter, that is said as the tint. And when we mix black, that we get the shade of that particular red color. Then intensity refers to the brightness or dullness of any color. So this is one important element of the design. Fifth element is the texture. Texture is the surface quality or the appearance of an object. Like we have two types of textures, that is actual, which is the quality of the surface that you can both see and feel. Like when we touch it, we can see that it and say it is rough, it is smooth, like that. And some are the descriptor textures, like when we say it is rough or smooth, it is wet or dry, hard or soft, shiny or matte. All these terms, when we say about any texture, it comes under the descriptor texture. Sixth element of design is space. Space is the distance or the area between shape. Like we have two types of space, that is positive space and negative space. Positive space is created by objects that are seen as main element appearing to be in front of the background, and the negative space is the area that surrounds the shape. So these are different six type of elements of design we discussed in the unit 5. Then unit 6 is about the principles of design. So principles of design is very important. When we have learnt about the elements of design, now the application of these elements, it is the principles of design. It is based on the principles. So we expect that after going through this unit, you will be able to explain what are different principles of design, and you will be able to describe its application in fashion design. So principles of design describes the way in which the artist use the different elements of design in a composition. Suppose you want to create a design, how you will apply the elements which we have discussed in unit 5, the 6 elements, how you will use that element. It is based on the sum of the principles such as balance, emphasis, movement, proportion, rhythm, pattern, and unity. So these are some of the principles which you can use to create any design using the elements. First, let us talk about the principle of balance. So balance is a sense of equilibrium. Suppose you are using elements of line in the creation of any design. So how you have used that line, whether it is in the balance form or not, it can be according to the demand of the design or according to the person who is going to create the design. So it is the concept of visual equilibrium and related to our physical and sense of balance. So most successful composition achieve the balance in one of two ways, that is, two types of balance we can use in designing, that is symmetrical balance or asymmetrical balance. So symmetrical balance, as with the name you can understand that it describes the having the division of any element into the equal proportion. Suppose we are creating a design of a shirt and we are using a straight line or a horizontal line in the designing, and we have divided that horizontal line equally all over the design of the shirt. That is said as the symmetrical balance. Then it is also called as the formal balance. Second type of balance is the asymmetrical balance. Asymmetrical balance is also called as the informal balance, and it is also the more complex and difficult to achieve because it is not created in very divided in equal parts. In the design or any garment, we can give the example of a asymmetrical balance is the angrakha kurta, which we use, which is in our traditional costume, that we can give as an example of a asymmetrical balance. Because if in any shirt or kurta which we have a placket which is in the center, but in the angrakha style kurta we have the placket at one side of the garment. So that is one of the example of asymmetrical balance. So in the picture you can see and understand how we can describe the symmetrical balance and asymmetrical balance. So the dress which is in white and black, it is an example of asymmetrical balance. And the second picture where both the sleeves are in the equal divided in symmetry, and the design or the pattern which is the flower pattern which is used all over the garment, it is all in the symmetry. So this is one of the example of symmetrical balance. Then we have the second principle, which is rhythm. So visual tempo or beat of any design or any element in a design, it is said as the rhythm. The space between repeating element can cause a sense of rhythm to form, similar to the way the space between the notes of musical composition create a rhythm. So there are 5 basic types of visual rhythm that a designer can create. It is the random, regular, alternating, flowing, and progressive. So in the picture you can see and understand the example of rhythm. Third principle is emphasis. Emphasis deals with the part of a design that are meant to stand out. In most cases, this means the most important information in the design is meant to convey. Suppose we are creating a very design which and want to emphasize some part of that garment, we can use different element there to make it emphasize. Fourth element is movement. Movement refers to the way the eye travels over the design. The most important element should be the next most important, and so on. So if we are applying one element, that can be used in such a way that the movement of the eye is very flexible. So this is example of emphasis and movement. Fifth element is proportion. Proportion is one of the easier design principles to understand. Simply put, it's the size of element in relation to one another. Suppose we are using texture of any flower or any shape, we can use it in such a proportion that it gives a good design. Pattern are nothing more than a repetition of multiple design elements working together. Then the seventh principle is the unity. Unity refers to how well the elements of design work together. Visual elements should have clear relationship with each other in a design. Unity also helps ensure concepts are being communicated in a clear, cohesive fashion. Design with good unity also appears to be more organized. So how perfectly we have used any element, whether it is shape or line, if the unity is not there, that any symmetry is not there and visual element is not there, we cannot create a good design. Principle of unity should be there. Suppose we are using two types of line, we are using a broken lines and one straight line, so there should be unity to create a good design. These are the 7 principles we have discussed in this unit 6, principles of design. The third and the last unit of this particular block is unit 7, which is about the fashion concept. So fashion concept, we expect that after going through this unit, you will be able to explain what is fashion. You can identify fashion terminologies and you can describe different directional theories of fashion change and fashion cycle. So first let us understand what is fashion, because from the beginning we are talking about the fashion design or creating design. So first thing what you have to understand is what is fashion. So in any simple term we can say fashion may be understood as a style that is popular in the present or a set of trend that have been accepted by larger society. So anything or any design or any fashion product which is a product which is accepted by largest number of the people in the society, it is said as the fashion. Now let us see some of the terminologies which is related to fashion. Is first is the haute couture. So couture or haute couture is a French term that relates literally as a high dressmaking, and it is refers to the, like we can say it is a designer piece. Then it is the designer porte-a-porter, mass fashion, avant-garde, knockoff, silhouette. We have the fashion season, fashion forecasting, fashion leaders, fashion followers. All these terminologies are discussed in this particular unit that you can study in detail in this particular unit 7, fashion concept. So learners, in this session we discussed about the block 2 of course 1 PFDI 071, fundamentals of fashion design, which was about the elements and principles of design. Hope you have enjoyed the session. If you have any query, you can mail us on cfde@ignou.ac.in. Thank you.